Okay, time for post-mortem here. Especially after the lambasting and getting over the Enterprise issue. Basically, that's just the whole thing here. What happened this year, where we are now, and why I continue to complain about it. So basically, alright, war started. War went badly. Got a little help from the Mirror Universe, even hang out there for a while. And then the war ended with a whimper. None of it thanks to anybody showing any intelligence whatsoever. It just sort of happened. We're just told that these are people that are brilliant, and we're supposed to take enough faith, meanwhile the fact they do those stupid things with no strategy whatsoever, and nothing. There's not a military mind that wants the whole lot of them that have any sense whatsoever. The closest thing we got was a decision, well, we're this big mind, we need to just wipe out the Klingons or we're going to wipe down. And that's the only sensible thing that's even come out of this one, and the thing is they wrote themselves into that corner. But then there is a way to make that solution work, but not the way they did it. I think would have taken somebody having a little sense to. I think actually saying there would have been a little more finesse, but a little less whining on Mikey Spock's part, and going and saying, "Look, I have in my hand the means to destroy this planet. Now you can either back off, or we will die." That sort of thing, That would have got some attention. That would have been a little better writing. But no, we got the whiny stuff that we got that passes for writing these days. And that's what we got here. It's like we got a bunch of stupid characters that, except for Tilly and Saru, the rest of them are all ciphers. And what we know about them is they're other despicable characters or totally unknown. Nobody would want to follow week after week. If it weren't for the fact that the producers are forcing these people down our throats week after week. That's the only reason we still watch.
Yeah, Stamets ain't so bad.
Stamets is okay, but the rest of them is like, forget it. And it's only with concerted effort I remember, well, hell, I'm even forgetting that.
What?
Cyborg lady with the,
Taylor?
Detmer, yes.
Yeah, Taylor Detmer.
Yeah, even that. But even that, we don't know anything about her, except she was on the Shinzo, and she now has one blue eye and a metal thing over her, kind of shades of 7 of 9. Other than that, whatever. She's had like 3 lines in the entire show. So, what do we got now? We're on the verge of, supposedly, the beginning of the original series. And the Federation has been virtually wiped out by the Klingons. People are kind of skipping over this fact. There's nothing left. The Klingons just wiped the whole floor with these things. And this is even though having technology far in excess of anything we saw in the original series, Next Gen, on through DS9 and Voyager. I mean, it wasn't until DS9 that we saw anything resembling this, holographic thing, and they dropped it pretty quickly because they knew it was stupid. But they have got real-time subspace communication across the quadrant. They didn't have that during the original series. There was a lot of times where we'll expect a response in about 3 hours. They're on their own. It's like, no, but now you've got holograms, real time, and interacting with their environment. It's like, what the hell is this? This even goes beyond what Star Wars should. Star Wars is a freaking fantasy show, okay? It's not science fiction, it's space fantasy. And of course, the real cherry on top of the sundae is, yes, they show the Enterprise, and it looks as out of place for this time period as an Aston Martin pulling up in front of the Long Branch in Gunsmoke. Because the thing is, why I'm keeping this up, this show is marketed as a prequel. And rule number 1 with a prequel is you don't muck around with the established continuity of the show you're supposed to be a prequel to. Regardless of how much smarter you think you are than the original producers and how much better the production quality is these days, you're doing a prequel to the show, you're locked into that design and those setups there. You can probably do those things better, but you don't start getting crazy and doing weird things like, you're doing a period piece. Just accept the fact you're doing a period piece, and that is the period you're into. And you take into account how much earlier you are. If you're 10, 20, 30 years early, you take it, but you have to lead into that period, whatever period is. It's that show you're doing a prequel to, that's what you're locked into.
No, I couldn't talk.
And if you don't do that, you're lying to yourself and you're lying to the audience. And the audience is not going to forgive you on that. And they finally pick up on it. And the reason why, when you say Enterprise got away with it because, one, they picked a period that, in spite of the fanfic and a lot of, well-intentioned speculation, we really knew nothing about. So there's a lot of stuff in there that they had room for. And the fact they had like 100 years, they didn't run up against a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff they had a lot of gap there to fill in there. So they weren't running up on very much. There was like two or three, couple of items that we knew happened 100 years ago. So all they had to do is keep track. Like the Romulan War was 100 years previous to Balance of Terror. Well, they said like 150. They had like a 10-year period gap between and they were starting to get in there. They were sneaking up on. And a few missteps here and there, but still stuff they could finesse around for the most part. And again, when they did come into something that okay, this is coming up here. Okay, let's look at that and how do we do it? And of course, there's also the temporal Cold War, which was actually kind of forced on them, but it came in handy for situations where there were screw-ups that either they blundered into or kind of ran up against, and those that weren't resolved could easily be excused away by when Archer finally hit that reset button and just, okay, no more temporal Cold War. So anything that's hasn't been answered, that got wiped away. Don't worry about it. It's no longer there. We'll just ignore it. And also, the production staff was loaded with hardcore Trekkies. They didn't have to bring in some panel of super fans to tell them where they was going. The people already knew. We're talking Doug Drexler, Mike Kakuda, Rick Sternbach. They know this stuff backward and forwards, They know it at least as well as I do. Okay, and I'm pretty damn good at this.
I thought I took the post down. Sorry.
And these guys, literally wrote the encyclopedia and the chronology and the tech manual. So they didn't have to go far for an opinion. Is this fit? No. Yes. Whatever. They're on staff. They already know. They don't have to go out soliciting help. And that should be a big statement right there that these guys don't know what they're doing. Oh, we got a bunch of fans over there, which we're ignoring, but we have them. So Samuel over at Trek Yards has said on a few occasions that Discovery, it makes a pretty good sequel to Enterprise, but it's a piss poor prequel to TOS. And he and Stewart have both shown this on a few, like comparing the Shenzhou and the Discovery to, say, the original Enterprise. It's like, you got the Enterprise here, got the Enterprise right here, and the Discovery comes out about that big. And, the writer's guide said that the Enterprise is the biggest, most powerful ship ever launched by Earth. And then you're like, well, except for the Discovery, it was bigger than. You undercut everything and start doing crap like that. That's why the JJ, and actually, why it fits in better with the JJ, because they put it up next to the JJ prize. And that one, it fits perfectly. It looks just like it, right? Two peas in a space pod right there. So when this thing comes trooping on in here, complete with a windshield and everything, these people don't know what they're doing, and they're expecting us to swallow it because it's got a Star Trek label on it. It's just a TV show. So come on. So yeah, and it'll be real fun. Oh, we got R2. Steph got me some, Star Wars Valentine chocolates, If this were an honest attempt at a prequel, and these guys knew what the hell they're doing, but even if they just would honestly try to do a prequel to the original series, then when that Enterprise showed up, it just would have been tried out the original, the pilot, first pilot version, and Bob Trunkle, there's the Enterprise. No fuss, no fuss. And the only thing at that point is just how much money you got to throw Ray Liotta to appear as Pike. But no, we get something chartered up to look, really looks more like, even more doodads on it than the refit version. And someone just went a little nuts. I think somebody owes Gabe Kerner some money there.
Even Vic Mignogna did a better job.
I mean, the fan films, it's but yeah, this has never been an honest prequel. If an honest prequel would not be taking these kind of liberties with canon, visual or otherwise, it would have been treated as a period piece, and they would have been honest. Okay, we're in the 2250s. Because realistically, they're not doing prior to TOS. When you have the cage in there, this is pre-OS period, because you got that one episode in the 2250s. Then guess what? You're there. There is no excuse. And frankly, before anyone drags up everybody complained about the Klingons or the uniforms in the movies. Those were never presented as prequels. They were followed, and none of them ever said, Valor, you know what? We never did those.
be honest, he says some really bad things about you.
That history's always been acknowledged. It's even reinforced whenever they've actually gone back to that period. Either the holodeck or through time travel. From relics, trials and tribulations, in America Darkly, whenever they've shown that period, they've acknowledged and they've shown it and they've faithfully recreated it. I think it's chocolate droids. So no, they've never done any of this kind of. The closest they did was when they did the Defiant Bridge for Anywhere Darkly. The handrail is more curved. It's not the straight angles like the one, but that's easy enough to ignore. That's the closest they ever did. Little tweaks here and there they wouldn't notice otherwise. And changing the insignia on the uniforms, because they did try and obscure it as best they can on the original show, and the truth is, on an old RCA period that you couldn't see it on that. You can see there was something there, but you couldn't for sure tell if that was an Enterprise insignia or something else. But they did their best when the people on their backs or an arm covering the band, whenever it went into a shot. Anyway, when they actually went back with it, and anyone after In America Darkly says that those designs would look hokey and outdated, shut the hell up, get out of my page. Don't even bother commenting because you have no credibility. Those things look great. They held up perfectly well. They showed how you can take those same designs with modern techniques and modern production value, and they look fine. They look just as futuristic now as they did then. You're just showing you don't care about the original series, so what the hell are you doing watching this in the first place? So basically, bottom line, it's really not the canon breaking that irritates me, although it's a big part of it. It's just the whole dishonesty of the whole thing. Because I said, Chrisman came out and he said, "Oh, it's primetime light. It'll fit in canon. Just be patient." After that Lost cluster strip, there's no credibility for gone. This thing, be patient. No, you blew that when you screw that one up. And then after 15 episodes, not only not fitting with canon, but with them doubling down every damn time when they screwed things up and just making a piling on. No.
And now he's doing the same thing to me.
No, I'm sorry. They have no claim on being anywhere near canon. The only thing they got is CBS being one of the 4 or 5 production houses involved in this thing. So,
yeah.
And it is crap. This is the worst written, worst plotted, worst characterized show in the entire history of the franchise. And yeah, I'm including the animateds on that too. It's like these characters are horrible. The plots are Snappy Dialer doesn't cover up a bad plot. I mean, you got a few generally funny stuff with Tilly, but otherwise these people are idiots. They're the plots make no sense. This stuff had been laughed out of a Flash Gordon serial back in the 30s. So, frankly, if they were giving me the keys to the franchise, I'd fire every writer on that show. I'd get rid of every executive producer, except for Rod Roddenberry and Nick Meyer. The other 11 are gone. And it'd be put out a list. Okay, Ron, Brannon, David, Dorothy Fontana, please come back in. Get Doug Drexler in charge of the art department.
Seth MacFarlane.
Well, Seth probably
he might have
under the table. I think there'd be a contract, but the rest there's enough veteran Trek staff out there. You put this thing, okay. Mission statement for season 2. Get rid of season 1. We're gonna fix this thing. So by the time season 2's over, okay, we're back in line and everything's looking where it should. And then let the chips fall where they may. And see how the market is for a retro style sci-fi show.
Yeah, let Alex.
But Kurtzman could blow it as far as I'm concerned.
Let Kurtzman stick to it.
Let me. You want to win back some goodwill there, Kurtzman? Just admit this is an alternate timeline reboot. So we can just go back and just take the show as it is on its own merits or faults, and there's plenty of faults, with the dodgy writing. Instead of also trying to pull some kind of scam and trying to get this piece of triple crap added to the Rich Fisher record, because it was like Denny O'Neil talking about when they killed off Robin in the Batman comics. I mean, it wasn't Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson did grown up and become Nightwing, and it was this old snotty little brat Jason Todd. Nobody liked who were reading the book. And yeah, when they killed him off to the readers, it was pretty much a no-brainer. Yeah, kill the creep off. He's an annoying little jerk. But to the general public, it hit a note because he was in a bar. He had a little Batman pin and thing. Oh, I'll do Batman. Yeah, I'm Edward. Here's the guy that killed Robin. That's how far the stuff goes. He couldn't tell Jason Todd from Bozo the Clown at this point, but he knew killed Robin. And realize it's not just editors in a comic book. They're custodians of folklore. And that's what we got here, because Star Trek is not just a TV show like people say. This is a part of American folklore here that we're adding to as we go on. Or trying to. And Discovery is just another loud, splody, badly written sci-fi show. It doesn't fit with the rest of it. They're not even trying to make it fit with the rest of it. There's apparently some reasons for that contractually. Because apparently the Midnight's Edge is still sticking with their thing that somewhere in the background is Bad Robot. And so you got that JJ license where they're not allowed to do anything with it. But they're still trying to claim, oh, it's canon. No, it isn't. It's its own canon. It's its own little, but it is not. You're never going to see an original series show, ship show up. And basically, bottom line, they've been lying to us about this show, and I got no use for liars in this regard. You're going to lie to your audience, and they lied to us about, no, it's not Khan, it's some guy named Harrison, and they go, okay, it's Khan. And they wonder why the bad tastes such that that the audience pretty much torpedoed beyond before it really came out. Because no, we're not going to reward liars. And that's why I, complain about this and why I bitch and moan. And why, stop watching. No, I pretty much, if I'm going to be a reviewer on this, I got to watch it. Yes, I do it, so you, the people, don't have to.
Yeah. If you ask
Question
me,
from me in the gallery.
If you ask me, honey, I think Kurtzman should stick to what he's good at. Hawaii 5-0.
It's a question of how much he is actually involved in that, or he's just overseeing it and other people write it.
Either way, it's...
But also, there's stuff, he's pulling stuff. I think it's kind of the thing, another thing in the writer's guide. That, if your excuse is they act that way because it's science fiction, don't call us, we'll call you. That's the exact quote. And he's pulling stuff on with the Star Trek that you never think of trying to pull on 5-0 or MacGyver. They're the shows he's overseeing. Because those are realistic settings. You can, but, put them on a Star Trek. Oh, yeah, there'll be all kinds of stupid crap. No. Because one of the tests that you do have a good story is translate this story into something analogous in a modern day, regular Western or cop show. Would these people still behave like this? If not, you got a bad plot. Go back and try again. So with that, PayPal, Patreon down below. Let's get this thing going here. We got another 6 days. We can get our 400 subscribers here. Or if YouTube finally sees sense and grandfather some of us back in there. I'll catch you later.